We're taking the fight directly to the sinister criminal cartels, and we're showing them no mercy. We are doing numbers like nobody thought possible. Even the Admiral, he would say that he would have never thought this was going to happen to the extent that it's happened. Our message is clear. You will not threaten our citizens. You will not poison our children. And you will not infiltrate our borders. We will find you, we will stop you, and we will put everybody that we find behind bars if you're lucky. The results of this historic international campaign have been absolutely phenomenal. This joint operation has resulted in the interdiction of more than 120 metric tons. Does anyone know how much that is? Of illicit narcotics. That is a mass of billions and billions. And the arrest of more than 1,000 drug traffickers. These actions have denied the cartel of billions, of various cartels, of billions and billions of dollars in cash, and prevented the loss of untold American lives, and we've seen the results in the United States.
At 3:17 a.m., the desert air outside Fort Eagle military installation in West Texas was unusually still. Most of the base was asleep. Security patrols followed their normal routes. Aircraft hangars remained closed. Supply depots sat silent beneath the darkness. From the outside, nothing appeared unusual. But 40 miles away, inside a federal command center, more than 200 investigators were preparing for one of the largest operations in the history of a joint FBI and DEA task force. For 11 months, federal agents had quietly investigated suspicious activity connected to military supply shipments moving through the region. What began as a financial audit had evolved into something far more serious. Millions of dollars in unexplained transactions, missing inventory, altered shipping records, and dozens of names appearing repeatedly across multiple investigations. At first, nobody believed the evidence. The military installation had one of the strongest security records in the state. Background checks were strict. Access controls were extensive. Everything seemed secure. Yet the evidence continued growing. And by the summer of that year, investigators had become convinced that a hidden criminal network was operating from inside the installation itself. The operation received a code name, Operation Iron Shadow. At exactly 4 a.m., the final authorization was signed. Federal agents moved into position. Roads surrounding the installation were quietly secured. Communication teams activated encrypted channels. Tactical units waited for the signal. At 4:37 a.m., it came. Move. Within minutes, dozens of federal vehicles entered the facility. Search warrants were executed simultaneously across multiple locations: barracks, storage depots, administrative buildings, vehicle maintenance facilities. The operation unfolded with precision. Most personnel on the base had no idea what was happening. Then, investigators reached Warehouse 12. For months, analysts had suspected the building played a central role in the network. Official records described it as a temporary logistics facility used for equipment storage. But surveillance suggested otherwise. Unusual vehicle activity, late-night deliveries, restricted access. Something wasn't adding up. Federal agents entered the structure. Rows of military equipment filled most of the building. At first glance, everything appeared normal. Then one investigator noticed something unusual: fresh tire marks. The tracks led toward the rear wall, but there was no loading door, no exit, nothing. The agent stopped, examined the floor, then noticed a concealed access panel hidden beneath several storage containers. The containers were moved. The panel opened, and what investigators discovered underneath changed the entire investigation: a hidden freight elevator. The platform descended nearly 30 feet underground. When agents reached the lower level, they found a massive concealed storage area stretching beneath the warehouse. Inside were dozens of pallets wrapped in industrial packaging. Several containers carried falsified inventory labels. DEA specialists immediately began examining the contents. Minutes later, confirmation started arriving. The packages contained illegal narcotics concealed inside modified cargo shipments. The quantity stunned investigators. But that wasn't the most shocking discovery. Inside a nearby operations room, agents recovered encrypted communication devices, financial ledgers, and shipment records stretching back nearly 4 years. The documents appeared to outline a sophisticated transportation network operating across multiple states. Someone had spent years building it, and someone inside the installation had helped keep it hidden. As dawn approached, federal investigators expanded their searches. More evidence emerged, more names surfaced, and more questions appeared. Who had organized the network? How had it remained hidden for so long? And how many people were involved? By noon, analysts reviewing the recovered records identified dozens of individuals connected to suspicious activities. Several held logistics positions. Others worked in transportation management. Some had access to supply chain systems used throughout the region. The deeper investigators looked, the larger the operation appeared. Financial records revealed millions of dollars moving through shell companies and consulting firms. Encrypted messages referenced coded routes and shipment schedules. Every clue pointed toward a carefully coordinated network operating behind legitimate military logistics systems. Then investigators discovered a file labeled only one word: Sentinel. Nobody knew what it meant, but the name appeared everywhere. Authorization records, financial transfers, internal communications. Whoever Sentinel was, investigators believed they were directing the operation from behind the scenes. The search intensified. Cyber specialists worked around the clock. Financial analysts traced transactions. Surveillance teams reviewed years of communications. Finally, a breakthrough emerged. One encrypted message contained a location reference tied to a private meeting outside San Antonio. Federal teams immediately moved into position. The meeting would provide investigators with the answer they had been searching for. And when they identified the person connected to the Sentinel codename, the entire case took a dramatic turn, because the individual wasn't a low-level participant. According to investigators, Sentinel occupied a position that gave them access to critical logistics systems throughout the region, a role that allowed information to move quietly between departments, a role that made detection difficult, a role that investigators had never previously considered. Over the following weeks, federal authorities executed additional warrants, seized financial assets, and expanded the operation into multiple states. The investigation ultimately resulted in dozens of arrests, and the dismantling of the network investigators had spent nearly a year tracking. But even after the operation ended, one question remained. How had a system this sophisticated managed to operate unnoticed for so long? For federal agents involved in Operation Iron Shadow, the answer was simple. The network had hidden behind routine processes, paperwork, and trust. From the outside, everything looked normal. That was exactly what made it dangerous. And according to investigators, that lesson may have been the most important discovery of all.